Om Tat Sat. So, by Sri Lord Krishna's grace and Sringeri Jagadguru's grace, we are getting into the chapter 17 summary today. That is 29th of June 2025. Very good. So, the chapter number 17, which is Shraddhatra Vibhaga Yoga, is a beautiful, beautiful chapter for practical application and for upasana for mumukshu. That is the people like all of us who want to attain moksha. And it gives you a beautiful methodical approach as well from different dimensions that all sattvikas, like most of us, have intent to practice it every day. So in this chapter, the tattvartham is very minimum. But the artham for observation is beautiful. And everything is on the basis of Shraddha. So that's why it's called Shraddha Traya Vibhoga Yoga. Traya means that the three guna by which this Shraddha is manifested are being observed by all of us, the Sanatanis. That is the three guna being Satvika, Rajasa, Tamasa, Guna. And 18th chapter also will be in all of those dimensions only. It will be very good. So 17th and 18th comes to that kind of an application, really, upasana. And the context for this chapter 17 is from the previous chapter, the last shloka, in which last two shloka, where Bhagavan says, Yashasa vidimudrijya vartate kamakardha, nasa siddhima vapnoti, noka parasukam. Then that after that, the last one he says, tasmat shastram pramanam te. That is for Arjuna, that means for all of us. Tasmat, therefore, shastrameva, meaning to say, what is a shastram we must understand. The shastram pramanam. Pramanam means, okay, he says shastram is the authority for you. Karya, akarya. That is what is to be done and what is not to be done. Karya, vyavastitau. In that state or in those transaction, vyavastitau. In the transactional of that, what is to be done, what is not to be done, the sole authority is shastram, it is said. Tasmat shastram karya nyatva shastra vidhanoktam. That what is said in that shastra, nyatva, having known, karma kartum iharhasi. That's how you get qualified to do the action. So the beautiful last one there is, that is being a karma yogi, whether you want to do a karma in what can I say, sakarma karma, that is whether you want a purushartham, that is because all the karma we do is sometimes the purushartham, which is dharma, artha, kama, moksha, or even without the purush, for mumukshu, mokshartham, because moksha also in the same purushartham, right? So for both of that, whether you want to do a nishkama karma or as a normal karma, this shastram is a pramana, absolute pramana. So what is shastram? So shastram is what is stipulated from the order of chain of authority from Veda, then Smriti, then Purana, etc. So the shastram are anantam, and the situations are also changing. Right? From when those, so our normal doubts is, how can I observe? Because Ananta Shastram, I told in the last class, Ananta Shastram Bahubeditavyam. Shastram is infinite. The times are changing. Bahubeditavyam, that I have to know so much. Alpascha Kalaha. That is the little time that we get every now, or then in the latest stage when we do all the Vedanta, then you now tell me Shastram, have I missed the bus? Have I missed something? Omissions and error, how to repair it, how to get everything. So like all of us have this particular doubt. Arjuna plans this question. So let me share the text and then we will go from there. So that's the kind of the context, which is very beautiful, like most of us. And when that is opening, I'll tell you. So lot of us in that particular one, we have the Shraddha. Krishna, we believe all the Shastram, whatever that is said in, but we got no clue. First, for example, there are a lot of interpretations, I'll open up the numbered one. But we all have Shraddha. So now we know one thing for the Shastram, and for example, the Shastram to be applied, whether it be most of the time, it is either in the form of Smriti or Kalpam. Because Vedas, as in the Purabhagam as well, it is Karma Kandam, but that is also very elaborate. And so the Smriti and Purana has been emulated or abstracted in a very easy, contextable manner. But having said that, we all have Shraddha. There is no doubt. Krishna, we have the Shraddha. So, so three things we have to understand. So, what is this Shraddha? So we all want to have a Shraddha, and that Shraddha, how do I then follow this so that I can be a good karma yogi, so that I can attain the moksha? So Arjuna plants that question, thinking, having all of us in mind. He says, yes, shastram iti mutsrujya yajante shraddhaya. That is, he says, hey Krishna, yaha, that is like most of us, let me make it a bit bigger. Yaha Shastra Vidhim. Vidhi. So Vidhi means, the stipulated commands or rules. That is what is to be done, what is not to be done. Vidhi. So Shastra Vidhi, Vidhim, that Vidhi, Utsrujya. Utsrujya normally means ignored or not having known, or so that's where we have to very, very clearly get the meaning here. First, I'll finish this Anvayam and then go, because this context is very important. Utsrujya, but Shraddhaya Anvitaha. Anvita, Shraddhaya Anvita means he has got a complete Shraddha in that Anvitaha, but he does not know Yajante. Yajante means he does all the actions, does the puja, does the study of this Gita Shastram and following it to the best extent possible. Everything is Yajana here. Yajante, Tesham, that of these people, like most of us, Nishta. Nishta means this particular, this particular, what can I say, the state of their observance. Because you're observing that. Observance in English is kind of a nishta. I want to observe and stand steadfast in that. So their steadfastness in following the Shastra, that nishta, we don't want to compromise in that. We have the Shraddha, nishta, nishta tu. How in this case, sattvam aho rajaha tamaha ka. Ka means ka. This because this one, what will you consider this? Is a sattvika or rajasa or tamasa? How do you kind of going to classify this? So then here, like most of us, we all may have to think about this question once again. This utsrujya meaning is to be taken in a very clear context. Utsrujya is not, see, there are two words in English itself. One is ignoring, another is ignorance. Ignoring means having known and not following it. Right? Ignorance means I do not know. I am doing to the fullest extent. And so, then what is Shraddha then? Shraddha means, the definition of Shraddha from Viveka Chudamani and all the one, Guru Shastra Vakyasya Satya Buddha Avadharana. Guru Shastra Vakyeshu, in that sentences, Satya Buddha, oh, this is good for me, this is beneficial for me. I've got absolute, not just a faith, but a hypothetical first conviction, because I've understood the logic, and that now I know that this is going to give me ultimate benefit and that moksha. So Vishwasaga Sa Shraddha Katita Sadbihi Taya Vastu Upalabhyate. That he says. Sa Shraddha Katita Sadbihi. So again, by the Sajjanas, this is what is called Shraddha. So here Utsrujya means it is not ignoring but ignorance, meaning to say we have known. So what Shankara says, this is equal to Vriddha what he says exactly, vritta vyavahara darshanat. Meaning to say, by observing our elders, by observing our gurus, or observing few people who have gone through the Shastram. So that means we are looking for some mentors. So these mentors, having observed, and then this person is following. That is what Bhagavan Arjuna is asking. Hey, we have got the Shraddha, but we have not studied. We do not even understand to interpret it because there are a lot of context, but we have understood certain things. And for example, right, we all know when we go to Mandir, we remove the chapel and then we go. Right? So this is a Shastra Vidhi. We all know. To any temple that we all go. Right? But we don't ask, we don't understand there is a dirt and we don't want to take the dirt to the temple. But they also say this disrespect. Sometimes you can also ask, no, my shoes is absolutely dirt, clean, Bhagavan. Absolutely clean. तो इसमें क्या बुरा होगा? उसमें क्या कुछ उल्लंघन हो जाएगा? Say everybody, you wash your shoes and say give something. Will it become? No, it will become ullanganam because this is said in Shastra. So sometimes these things, and we so far you understand what I mean. There are a lot of, you would not believe me. That day I was sorry, I won't take much time. The other day, in one of the places I found, a lot of conversions happen because of this. Because the churches, the people say, why should I wear this one and shoes and this? The church fellow is saying there, but the padri is saying, you don't worry. You can wear shoes, chapel and come to our church. We don't mind. Our Bhagavan is ever minding of nothing. So this person, literally, there is one village in Tamil Nadu where they all said, this is church is very good. I can go there without, मैं उसी भगवान के पास जाएंगे जिसमें मैं चप्पल पहन के पैर जा सकता हूँ, शू पहन के जा सकता हूँ, बहुत अच्छा है. So you see, people sometimes this this is where the Shraddha falls apart. Now, coming back to the context. So what here the context is of the shloka is that we have observed those elders who are following, and to the extent we have known, we are following this. And there are, for example, right, the other day, but we are happy to correct ourselves. Having to be corrected. For example, the other day I went here again for about more than 100, 200 people. We were doing Vishnu Sahasranam Archana. And then afterward, everybody ran out to the flower. The priest himself said, okay, do with Akshata. Then I know in the Kalpa, there is a thing that you cannot do Archana to Vishnu with Akshata. So I have to tell the Pandit, Pandit ji, ये कैसा कर सकते हैं? आप लोग विष्णु का पूजा करते हो. आप अभी अंबाल को कर सकते हैं, तो you can put Akshata and Archana. But you cannot do to Vishnu. He said, correct, Babu, you told. Okay, all of you, please stop. Don't do with Akshata. If you don't have also, just it is okay. You can do with any patram. So you see what I'm saying, these are all in Kalpa. So we may not know. For example, but then the thing is about like that. If you do not know and something like that, okay, I'm able to correct myself. That's what Arjuna is asking. So how would you have that Shraddha to be Satvika, Rajasik or Tamasik? So that is a very important context we must understand. So, but it is not like most of us believe. It's like, मेरा मन शुद्ध है. मेरा भगवान को मैं मानता हूं. भगवान मुझे जानता है, हम भगवान को जानता है. हम कैसा भी करेंगे, भगवान स्वीकार करेंगे. हाँ, तुम कौन बोलने वाले है? I have seen someone, so I will also do. That's not the Shraddha. That's not what Arjuna's question here is. That's why Bhagavan will come back and so on. So Bhagavan come back. So Bhagavan comes to say, so the whole chapter is about how to get Satvik Shraddha after getting the summary of this class. Okay. So Bhagavan says, Arjuna, and he doesn't give a clear answer also. Bhagavan says, he is very clever, Krishna. So he says, Arjuna, you know what? Shraddha is like a 3 types. Yes, Satvik, Rajasi, Tamasik. Trividha Bhavati Shraddha, Dehinam Saha. The more important word is Swabhavaja. From here onwards, I will go into, even if it takes a little bit of 20 minutes, please don't mind. The key words only I will take. Now, Swabhavaja. Whenever the word ja comes at the end, that means it is something that is born out of. So swabhava means all of us have got some swabhava. That swabhava with what we are that means we are born out of. The swabhava for a husband is different from the wife in the same house. The three children, their swabhava is different. And the shraddha is different. It cannot be same. The reason being, so what we have to define is, what is swabhava then? What Shankara says, swabhava, and it's a beautiful, this is what we have to get it again in the next chapter also it will come. Marananta Kale, I just want to get the exact word. I remember that, but I want to do. Marana, Janmantara Kritaha, Janmantara Kritaha. Whatever we do up to the end of the last breath, Janma Antara Kritaha, whatever we have done, and Dharma Adi Samskara, Dharma Adi Samskara, whatever the accumulated dharma that you're all now listening to this, the Gita knowledge, and then we want to abide by this, that Dharma Adi Samskara in this Janma, Maranakale, and the last breath, Abhivyaktaha. So Bhagavan brings it to the next birth. Then what you carry forward, that becomes a Swabhava. Swabhava. And that Swabhavaja, that is what molds that person. And that's what Krishna says. Look, it depends upon how that every person has accumulated the previous births. And the previous births, at the end of the birth, however he has got that dharmadi kritaha, all those janmantara kritaha, and the samskaraha, abhivyaktaha, because that's what has come from your vasana. That when it comes here, that when come it, and then it takes shape, that's what is called swabhavaja. So, but though it is not a constant throughout the janma, because then it's a matter of whether you want to leverage a swabhava to positivity or you want to go down the hills, up to you again, because you got the free will. Okay. So that's what Bhagavan says. It depends upon the swabhavaja. With that only, he either becomes a satviki or rajasi or tamasi. And how does this happen again? So that in the current janma, where you have the free will, how you can mold it to become a sattvic, shraddha, bhava, karma yogi. So Bhagavan says, Sattvanurupa sarvasya shraddha bhavati bharata shraddhamayoyam purusho yo yachchadda sa eva saha. And he says, this is the identity of that person. Really, the identity of our person, irrespective of the name or the gender or the quality or the nationality or however we are born, the parents even parents are immaterial. Because you see, the good example we see is Vibhishana, Ravana, and Kumbhakarna. Same father, same mother. Vibhishana is a Sattva Shraddha Purusha. Ravana, Rajasika Shraddha Purusha. And Kumbhakarna, Tamasa Shraddha Purusha. Same father, mother. So that's a good example. So what Bhagavan, that's what he says. You know, Arjuna, that Sattva Anurupa, Sattva means that whatever that internal Antakaranam, Anurupa, Sarvasya Shraddha Bhavati Bharata, Shraddhamayoyam Purushaha, Yoya Shraddha. That is what is called as the Shraddha. So Bhagavan says, there is an inbuilt quality in that one. And he says how to then identify, or I have to kind of have an indicator, monitor to see how this is manifested. He says, look Arjuna, Satvika, and here this particular shloka 4 is basically belonging to all the persons who have kind of not really known the Shastra. So what Shankara says, Satvika, Yajante Devan. Devan here means like all the devas, like, you know, Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma, Saraswati, Mata, Durga, everybody. And he normally prays to them. And the Rajasa, he prays to Yaksha Rakshamsi. And like to the gods which are more like a Krura, like, you know, those kind of ones that he prays to. And the Tamasa, Janaha, Pretan Bhuta Gananscha, the ghosts and spirits and evil spirits, and that's what he worships. And Shankara says the Sattvika one, what this context as he says, because they are actually very, very less, he says, because this is the people who have not known the Shastra completely. But the people like most of us who have got the Shraddha and who have from the, what do you call that, from the Guru Shastra Visheshu, we are in the previous canon. So that's what I just wanted to clear. But we are all in the Sattvika Yajante Deva. But then the next two shloka, Bhagavan goes little bit more to explain about the Rajasa and Tamasa Shraddha people. They are Shraddha Arjuna, the Rajasa and Tamasa people. They are very Goram. Goram means very cruel, very, very demonic, and they subject Damba Ahankara Samyuktaha. They are full of that ego and pride, that whatever they want to do, even in that's all with the Kamaraga Balanvitaha, that for their own self beneficial, and that they are not for the Lokakshema, for their Swartam, everything for their own self beneficial, for their pleasure, and to attain utmost pleasure in that one. In that only they are one. And what they do is Ashastra Vihitam, Goram, Tapaha. And they do these austerities which are very, very cruel in nature. But these people, again, Rajasa, Tamasa people, they don't understand. That's what in 17.6 Bhagavan says, Karshayanta Sharirastam. Arjuna, whether it is a Rakshasa or, Rajasa or Tamasa or Sattvika, and all of them, the inabiding one by which he enjoys or by which he does the action is me, actually. I am in all of them. So in the Antakaranam, which is in me, and the Bhuta Gramam, by which he is manifested in the gross and subtle body, which is also in the nature, all of them, Karshayantaha, he is literally putting them into a depleting mode. He is not putting it into a beneficial mode. Karshayanta means it's weakening them. Karshayantam. So he is really weakening them more and more and more. Tan Vidyan Asura Idi Nishchayan. They 100% take them as ones who have got only Asuri Sampat. Because the previous one chapter was Daiva Asura Sampat. So Daiva Sampat, what we have taken from the previous chapter, brings you a Daiva Sattvika Shraddha, and that Sattvika Shraddha brings you into the Sattvika Nishta, by which you do Devan Pujayati. They don't do in this kind of a Gora Tapas, self-inflicting the damage into them, and also Pidaya, the Bhagavan will say, causing, poking all the body and Karshayantam to prove something to one. Bhagavan completely does not accept anything in Gita in this one. And then he said, yes, they are totally Asura Sampat only, that is Karshayantam. That does not please me at all, because Mam Jaivanta Sarirastam. He is not doing cruelty to their own body, they are doing cruelty to me. They want nothing. No one wants anything, really. So Bhagavan gets that one, Tan Vidyan Nishchayan, that too, he said, very strong word Bhagavan used there. And then he says, Arjuna, these ones, the Sattvika Nishta, it comes from 4 important things, he says. One is Ahara. This chapter, that's what we'll cover for the rest of the chapter. One is Ahara, because that's what Annamayo Purusha. So the Purusha, what means when you say Purusha, means all of the human beings. That it is, you are what you eat, as they also say in English. So Ahara is a very, very important thing which imbibes that Sattva Shraddha. Sattva Samskara. So Ahara, then Yajnaha, then Tapaha, then Dana. These 3, very important, is what Bhagavan takes it in this 4. These 4 are the most important one that Krishna takes in this chapter to say how one can inculcate this more and more of the 4 different directions of the Sattva Shraddha. And in that one, first he says, for example, Satvik Ahara. And the beautiful thing in all these things is Krishna gives you the indication, qualities, properties of Sattva Aharam, Rajasaharam, Tamasaharam, Sattva Yajnam, everything. And we have to accordingly take it in because it's applicable at all times. See, that's the beauty of it. Krishna did not say that, chapati is good, or this is good, or fulka is good, or bread is good. He knows there are only what he is going to cultivate, generate in this earth. Only that is going to come out of the earth. And he knows they manifest only in this kind of properties. So he says the sattva ahara, which are all sattvika priyaha, for sattvika people, ayuhu. That's what like Ayurveda, which augments a life. Ayuhu here, the life is also for him and also for the others in this life. So whatever he eats, it benefits him and also benefit for the whole eco balance system. So that one augment life in this earth, or for him first long life giving. Ayuhu. And sattvaha. As such, so ahara itself has got a sattvic quality. So meaning to say the calmness of the mind in this one antakaranam. Because the sattvic aspect in food is mostly inherent. It is very internal. So for example, that's why we say the sattvic also of the quality when you cook, it is the person who is cooking. And this is common in not only even in Jews, if you go and see, when they cook, they keep on chanting. It's very important for Jews. When they make food, they have to keep on chanting their thing, and they do cooking like most of us do. And so the sattvic aspect of the food is very well manifested when we think about God, and then we do the cooking, and also when we eat them accordingly, right? So like, how we chant like Gama Vishesha Bhutani, Aham Vaishvanara Bhutva, all those sort of things we saw in the 15th chapter as well. That multiplies the sattvic aspect of the food. And like for example, even they say in the food like onion and garlic are rajasic, but if taken as a medicinal factor, that has got its benefit. So that and all, we can not have to go too much. Then bala, it gives the strength, both physical and the mental strength, bala. And arogya, arogya means there is no roga. That means this is getting rid of any, it's a medicinal effect. So the food itself becomes a very medicinal effect. That is why arogyam. Rogyam, roga, aga, meaning to say negates all roga. So it is arogyam. So it is a medicine. Food is taken as a medicinal factor, arogya. And sukha, the contentment before and after. So the sattvic food are not like rajasic that puts you to sleep, that you just succumb before and after. And preeti, and delight even while looking at it, while eating it, and then relishing it after. And vivardhana, that it vivardhana means it nourishes everything, internal and everything. And rasyaha, it is very juicy, succulent. It's got the full taste factor in it. Freshness is what you can take it as rasyaha. And snigdaha normally also Krishna and most of the Bhashyakara horses have a ghee in it, or oil, like which is healthy, not fried on we have to go in oil. But what he's saying is ghee. And that stickiness in that whatever we eat, that binding factor, especially with ghee, it becomes a very sattvic one. That he says snigdha means normally ghee, which makes it like that. And sthiraha, so low GI, which even you have one, that particular one, the food, it lasts for about 5-6 hours, not that immediately. So low GI in the current context. And hridyaha, very close to heart, that you are even when you look at it, I mean same thing as a sukha priti, but this is hridyaha, that is so soul filling, and that also comes from samskara. And then hridyaha ahara satvika priyaha. So these are all the indications when you have is a sattvic food. And rajasic food, Bhagavan says, katu. Katu means bitter, very bitter. Certain thing, medicinal bitter may be good, like, bitter gourd or something. But here it means katu, means too bitter. Katu, amla. Amla is, amla, that amla is excessively sour. Excessively sour, like tamarind, gooseberry, very, very sour things. And lavana. And in this one, everywhere you have to add ati. Here you see is ati ushna is there, no? That ati you must add into ati katu, ati lavana, ati. So everything you add ati katu, ati amla, ati lavana, because you need sodium. So Salt in moderate is good, but ati lavana becomes a rajasi. And ati ushna, too hot temperature. And tikshna. Tikshna is, ati tikshna. Ati tikshna means very pungent, chilli, vinegar, acidic in nature. Ati tikshna. And ruksha is very dry, completely devoid of it, very dry. And vidahena of these types, and they are dukkha, shoka, amaya pradaha. They also give you that pain, and also it is sometimes injury, because it spoils your stomach and everything. And shoka, worrisome afterwards very bad. And amaya pradaha means it most probably going to cause you disease or any. And also it spoils your internal emotions. That's amaya pradaha. Ahara rajasasya ittaha. So those people of those of the nature. And yeah, the tamasic ones, yat bhojanam, yata yamam. Here, yata yamam means has been very slow, has been half cooked, not well cooked. So it's not one yamam gone, we should take it, because that is come in the paryushitam. The next it come. Here, yata yamam means it is not been well cooked, it's half cooked, rarely cooked, and that is one yata yamam. And gata rasam, which is makes like a ruksha, that it is completely devoid of any taste, and it's very dry. Like where we saw rasyaha, here it is gata rasam. And puti is fungus. Yeah, puti. That putrid or fungus has come. And paryushitam is which is stale, cooked a long time back, and very old one. Paryushitam, uchishtam. Uchishtam, again, somebody has eaten it, and then that become ashuddham because of saliva, or something has touched it, or some other animal has taken it. Those are all uchishtam. And amedyam. This is something that when this food, I can't offer it to God, then I don't eat it. So amedyam. This is something that we don't put as a nevedyam. So when you can do nevedyam, it becomes a one. But amedyam, this which cannot be offered as a nevedyam for Bhagavan. And bhojanam tamasa priyam. And now, after ahara, Bhagavan now comes to yajna. Yajna austerities again here is, you can take every action into this yajna as well. Even our normal work, whatever we do, because yajnartat karmanon yatra lokoyam, that we can take it in this. Okay. And so Bhagavan says again, this one, apala kankshibir yajnaha vididashto yajyate yashtavamedi manaha samadhaya satvika. So a person who does as a nishkama karma yoga, everything that he says is his satvika yajna. That itself, a nishkama karma yoga is a satvika karma, because he is not hankering over the fruit, what this one is do, when vidhi, but yet he is still doing it by all the stipulated means. Like for example, you are every day morning praying to sun god, or to the nature, or to even Ishvara. Bhagavan, let this world be devoid of every war and peace. All these things, for the general cause of this thing. And that we do Sandhya Vandanam. These are all Satvika Yajnam. Very, very important. Brahma Yajnam. All of them are Satvika Yajnam. And why we say Yashtavyam Eveti Manaha? That he takes it as his austerity, tapas, in the way that I should do this for the benefit of everything in this world. That Bhagavan says is a Satvika Yajna. And then another one is the Abhisandhayatu Palam Dhambartam Abhichayvyati Ijjate Bharata Sheta. And if he does same Shastra with him, something has been said, but he does it only for his selfish motive, like a Sakama Karma. That he says is Rajasam, because it is only benefiting him, and that also Dhambartam, that he just wants to prove that how happy he is by doing it, and that's only a more of a show off yajna. So Bhagavan says that kind of a yajna, when you do the action, even though it is Shastra with him, he says it is Rajasam. And the third one is, the last one, Tamasa Yajnam. So Tamasa Yajnam is Vidihinam. Meaning to say completely the Vidhi is not observed, knowingly, unknowingly as well. Vidihinam. Then Asrishtanam. In when the why this one is all said is, For example, we are doing some great austerity yajna and things like that, that where annam is, for example, as served to others. So in this one, when what we mistake is that is not got any benefit for anybody to consume from that. And he's not even having even any intent of giving it to anyone. Asrishtanam, mantra hinam. That mantra also is completely loba, and then whatever he is not even worried about the mantra hinam, adakshinam, and that prohit who comes or the one that he doesn't want to either give dakshina, and Shraddhaya Virahitam, that he does not have any Shraddha, that is a Tamasam Parichakshate. See, that's what these kind of mantra, Adakshinam and all, sometimes it is very important that, if it is to be done, do it with that one. Whether sometimes it has to go to the temple or whatever that one you do, and that without offering back to that society or the community, and then he's doing it. These are all Tamasam Parichakshate. And then the tapas, which is very important, which are about 6 slokas we will cover in this. Bhagavan says the tapas is normally of three kinds. Kayasa tapam, kayakam, kayakam, kayasa tapam, means kayasakam tapam means by doing it in the body, bodily. And then vacham, that is by your mouth, and manasatapam, that by mind. So these are the three faculties by which we do tapas. So Bhagavan first want to define these instruments in the sattvic, rajasic, tamasic order, or he wants to put everything in the sattvic order. Straight away he wants to say, look, have your kayam, meaning to say your gross bodily action, first to make it sattvic. How does we do it? So he says, Devat Vijaguru Pragya Pujanam Shaucham Arjavam Brahmacharya Ahimsacha Shariram Tapa Uchate. So the Sharira tapas, what Bhagavan says, Deva, Deva, that is all the Ishvara that you are going to pujan, to the Deva, and Dvija, the one that is twice born, the Brahmana or Kshatriya, or the one that is that who is going to help you, give you this knowledge for him to serve, So Deva, Dvija, Guru, Acharya, the teacher who's giving the Atma Jnana, and Prajnaha. Prajna means who is learned, and wise men, elders, pujanam. And so you do your salutations, pujanam to Deva. That means Deva pujanam, Dvija pujanam, Guru pujanam, Prajna pujanam. 4 pujanam. This makes this gross body into a sattvic mode. So whenever we do this daily, as Bhagavan said in the chapter, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam, Yome Bhaktya Prayachati, all these things, every day. Now we started the puja with Bhagavan Krishna, and then we started, automatically the class becomes sattvic. That's not just we have got a firm belief, so many things in this. So all these things make every attempt in our life a sattvic one. So they were, depending on the instance and the context, we do these things. Okay. And then Shaucham, because it's coming in the Shariram, meaning to say external cleanliness. As much as possible, is keeping the body clean, devoid of any dirt internally and externally. But because it's the body, we are more about the bodily cleanliness is very, very important. And Arjavam. The Arjavam, normally internal Arjavam, here Arjavam means having a body in a very steadfast position. Having your erect back and the position in a proper one, and not in a swaying position. All these things, most of the time, how you conduct, Arjavam. And Brahmacharyam, celibacy. Not thinking about anything that will devoid of our Meda Shakti to be devoid of. And that kind of a celibacy, Brahmacharyam, is Brahmacharya Vairagyam, because that's how the Vairagya from the Viveka is built, and that Brahmacharyam, celibacy. And Ahimsa, we are abstinence from even hurting anyone from our body, to even to any animals in this one. Cha Shariram Tapa Uchate. So these are all ones make sure Shariram, Shariram into a Satvik tapas as such. Condition for a Satvik tapas. And Vakyam is very, very important. Vacham. Vachika tapas. The Vachika tapas, what Bhagavan says, yat anudvegakaram vakyam. Anudvegakaram means the sentence or the words we speak are not kindling the emotions or other people. The words are very kind. It doesn't kindle the emotions. Even though it could be good, the truth, or some incident we are telling, but we are doing it with a very kind and in a very nice manner, very softly put someone, okay? And that is anudvegakaram vakyam, not kindling the emotion on either side. And number two, priyam. Priyam meaning to say it is pleasing to hear for the person, because you are saying this, but it's mostly the person who is hearing that he should be pleasing to hear that words. So the words should be pleasing for others. And hitam, it should be beneficial, not just pleasing for the sake of pleasing, saying anything untruth, but hitam, it's beneficial to him. And satyam, meaning the truth. Here is absolute truth and relative truth, both included. And what Krishna and one says is, there are four aspects in this Vachikam tapas, right? Anudvegakaram, Priyam, Hitam, Satyam. All four must be followed at the same time. Or even if one is missed, that is not become a Satvika tapas. Vachika tapas, Vachika tapas, Sattva Vachika tapas, it doesn't become. So that's a four ones. Is not that anyone, all four must be done together or must be followed as required, and then only it becomes a, and then Swadhyaya Abhyasanam. That's what most of us now, whatever we are doing now, we are all doing the Swadhyaya Abhyasanam, meaning to say self study and self practice. Abhyasana means abhyasam, but abhyasana. So the self study and the self practice, which is again by, because it's Vachikam, it is basically studying. By reading it aloud, and at the same time by chanting them, all those things. Eva Vangmayam Tapa Uchate. These are all great tapas for the Vang. Like, even they say, Harir Harvati Papani Dushta Pachiste Vichitra Anichyavi Samsfutto Dhagatya Pavaka. So this Namasmaranam in these ones by Vachikam is a great benefactor for keeping. That is why, most of them, even when they have some, oh, Shiva, 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 I should not have said, oh, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. So all these things are very, very beneficial in this particular Vachika tapas. And then Manasika tapas. Manasika, what can I say? Satvika. In that Manas Prasada Saumyatvam, that Manas Prasada means it's, the Prasannam, that it is very happy first internally. The mind has to be in a very calm, tranquil state internally first. Then only we can. So what is internal is what is exhibited outside. So first quantity is your clear thoughts, and there is no perturbation in that. There is no disturbance. There is no concealment that, oh, I have to project myself. No, it's very happy. So when we condition ourselves that Shanti in the Manas, then Manas become Prasada. Prasada is Manaha. Then Saumyatvam, very cheerful. Very cheerful. Like, when we think of this Hanuman every time, basically it is Ajadyam. Saumyatam Ajadyam means it's a kind of ignorance, mandam. But Saumyatam comes when that goes away. So that is why when we pray to Hanuman, we say, Buddhir Balam Meshoderim, Ajadyam Vakpaduttam. See, there are also Ajadyam Vakpaduttam. Only when that mind is having the Ajadyam, they become Saumyatvam, then Vakpaduttam. That Vak becomes a very powerful carrier. So that is why that Saumyatvam comes from Ajadyam. Even with the Saraswati Mata, when you say, Yakundedu Tusharahara Dabala, Ya Shubra Vastravrata, Ya Veena Varadanda Manditakara, Ya Shweta Padmasana, Ya Brahmachada Shankaradibi, Devai Sada Pujita, Samam Patu Saraswati Bhagavati, Nissesha Jadya Baha. There also are Jadya Apaha. So that Saraswati again is the one who makes that Manas Saumyatvam. So that's why it also comes Jadya Apaha. So, and then Maunam. The Maunam is though it is a walk, right? We should think it is, Maunam should have been the walk. It should have been come as a walk tapas. Why is going Manas? Because unless the mind is quiet, only then the mouth will become quiet. that you might have also observed. The more and more people get old, the more and more the mind gets restless. Then they become a chatterbox. They want to keep on talking because the mind peacefulness has to come. So when we know that, oh, I am speaking more words are coming, then we know the internal calmness is not there. Once we bring that, so that indicates the internal. That's why Bhagavan says Maunam is very internal, because once the Maunam becomes very internalized, then the walk actually becomes very controlled. So Maunam is really very internal, because Jnana Pravritti comes from that Maunam. Hmm. Ma- Ah, Maunam, Atma Vinigraha. So with the Maunam again, more and more, the complete control of the mental modification. The modification in the mental thoughts. So Atma Vinigraha is actually the mental fabrication of thoughts. That is the mind, we say, no, sometimes it is running in 4 different directions, and to, can I do this, or what should I do tomorrow, what should I cook? Oh, if this is not there, then that I should cook for breakfast. All these things, to put it up, is, I know we need to plan, but Atma Vinigraha, that whatever happens, we will certainly do it. That kind of a Vinigraha, that it is in the control of the mental modification. And Bhava Samshuddhi. And Bhava Samshuddhi is absence of any connivance. So, Shuddhi, meaning to say, internally, why should I worry about it? When somebody talks something about it, or that kind of a self-inflicting ones, we should get rid of them. That's what Bhava Samshuddhi, that the more and more we grow old, this becomes, because there are a lot of reflections, because when we have 50 years, there are 50 years of reflection, 60 years, 60 years of reflection. The more and more of the accumulation comes, it becomes to get a bit questioning itself. Am I like this? But the more and more we follow the sattvika everything, the mind should become a bhava samshuddhi bhava. Then only the next janma the bhava will come a sattvika bhava. So that's why Bhava Samshuddhi is very, very important as we grow old and old, because that's basically an internal telling getting ourselves into that one, not having to self inflict anything. And iti etat manasa tapa uchyate. That Bhagavan says that. And now, after the having conditions, shariram, vachakam, manasam into the sattvic mode, then Bhagavan says, Shraddhaya paraya taptam tapastat travidam rahe apala kankshmi yugdahi sattvikam. So, the Shraddhaya taptam tapas trividam. The trividam, what he said previous was that the 3 modes of action. With that, Shraddhaya Paraya Taptam. With the ultimate Shraddha, if he done this, the austerity, Tapaha, that itself is the most sattvika Shraddha, and in this sattvika tapas. And with that sattvika tapas, he automatically apala kangshibihi. He does not want any fruits injected or anything, because what he's after is that moksha jnanam, which comes from that manasika tapas. And apala kangshibi yuktahi sattvikam parichakshate. That as soon as he has all of them in that mode followed in the previous one, he automatically goes into a sattvika tapas. But Satkaramana pujartam tapo dambena seveti kriyate tadigam. But and that tadiga proktam rajasam chalam adruvam. But if that becomes more wavering, adruvam, if it is not steadfast in all of those, the 3 ones there, and then what happens? Itself provides the feed for the ego. Satkaramana pujartam. Oh, I need more name, more fame. That kind of a dambam. That damba, it is wanting to. So that means there is no arjavam, there is no bhavasam shuddhi. That then becomes a rajasa tapas. That's what he says, tapas. And then tamasa tapas, he says, mudagrahe mano yatati pidaya kriyate tamaha parasyochadhanartam va. What he does is, this mudagrahana, this person who does not have a atma nigraha, that he said that atma vinigraha manasika, that he does not have it, because he's a muda, he's an ignorant person. Totally, only thing what he does is pidaya, yati pidaya kriyate. he is doing all that. We saw that one, right? Ashastra Vihitam Goram. That person is referring here. That either he does self-inflicting cause, pida means, injury or causing harm. Either he is doing all of this in a self-inflicting harm to himself or for parasya or for others. Ah, and that tamasam udahritam, that is what is called a tamasa tapas, because they are only doing the tapas for either, because he is doing all of them for either destruction of others or for his own self-destruction. And that is the one that says tamasam. And then he comes to the dhanam. The charity again is a beautiful one, which gets a divide of lobha buddhi. Lobha and kama as well, because the more and more the kama feeds the lobha, right? So the kama, krodha, lobha, all these three, in fact, the greatest remedy is dhanam. The greatest remedy is dhanam. And that also, that's what Bhagavan he says, that dhanam, if done properly, then it automates a great instrument to get rid of these three. And then for that, he says, the first one, what he says is, the person who is doing his dhanam, which always we say, right, deshe kale patre, meaning to say, in the correct sattvic place. And Bhagavan says, even like Kurukshetra and all those places, and kale, in the proper time, very important, and patre, to the right recipient. And to that people, when we give the dhanam, he says, datavyamiti yad dhanam. Oh, this is my pleasure to give it to him. I do not diyate anupakarine. Anupakarine means not needing to know that I need to get anything back from him. Not expecting anything. In fact, Shankara even goes to say that when we give this dhanam to the other person, that person should not even be capable of giving it back to us in any form or other. And that is a satvikam dhanam iti smritam. And this is a very, very important thing you would have seen, especially, Sanatana Dharma, and but people use these things, especially when you are going for a Char Dham or, Kashi, Prayag, all those places, when you go Prayagraj, Gaya, and all those places. But my experience is very little is, at that time, we have decided something to do it quietly and then give it. I know sometime they may, but it is up to his problem. That's what I tell them. Because I tell you, most of the people who go and come, afterward they will say, oh no, oh, have I given him more? Have I given him less? Don't have to worry. They will always, if you feel that he is, like, always, like, especially in Australia, right? When we sell a house, you always feel I should have got more price. When you buy a house, you always feel, no, I could have negotiated something less. Dhanam is also like that. But Dhanam, one thing is there. As soon as you give it, this is not my money, it is his money, it is his worry. Let him Hiranyagarbha Garbhastham. If all I want is Sattva Buddhi, Sattva Shuddhi. One less worry for me. It is his worry, whether if he wanted. So, if we come out of that one, then everything becomes quiet. And then most of the thing in this dhanam also is that most of the time it is better to speak less at these instances when you go, especially there. One day I will talk about how we do that in Kasi and Prayag and those places. But those are all Punya Kshetram, and even to the Kumbhabhishekam or for temple charities, all these things are a great dhanam which brings us this Sattva Shuddhi Bhava. And the Rajasa dhanam is यत् प्रतिपकारार्थं फलमुद्दिश्यवापनः दीयते च परिक्लिष्टं. This pariklishtam is rajasam dhanam. Pariklishtam is after giving the dhanam. Oh, have I given him more? I think I gave him $1,000 for 100. Maybe I should have made it 500. Is it? Oh, maybe have you squeezed me or something more? Or you go somewhere and then maybe I should not have shown in the green note. Something like that we feel, and that's what he says. While giving the dhanam, don't have any hesitation. If you have decided, if this is the one, or and also pratyapakarartham. Okay, I know I will give him, so because of which I will get benefit. And see, lot of the Pitrukaryam people, that's what they do sometimes. That is because they do Pitrukaryam because they are either afraid. Okay, I have to give this dhanam for this particular one because only then, or else my Pitru will do shapam, or that I will do this because then only I will go to better status after this birth, or this one. So, or health, all these things are Rajasadhan. Because especially for our Sanatana Dharma, only lot of the Pitrakaryams are there, Dhanams associated with that. While doing that, whatever we have thought we have to do little, do it without thinking about what will happen to your parents or my parents or for myself, anything. If Shraddha, that's why they are called Shraddham. Because the Shraddha is what is very, very important in those things, and not about any Palakanksha. Palakanksha, Bilkul, is not going to make it a Satvika Dhanam. And especially that is very, very important, that one. Okay. And then Adesha Kale Yadhanam Apatrebhya Sadivita Asatkritam Avagyatam Tattamasamudam. And in the Dhanam, especially, first I will do the Asatkritam. Asatkritam means in our scriptures, especially in our Sanatana Dharma, Dhanam, there are certain very important things we must do. The person who is giving the Dhanam should be standing up with respect, and the person who is receiving it must be seated. And that you must always give dhanam with that respect. So asatkritam avagyatam means that dhanam that is given disrespectfully, it is a tamasa dhanam. And at the same time, so the dhanam has to given utmost respect. So you would have known most of in our samskara, like we even Sashi Bhaiya did, in all in our marriages, the girl's father, when he does a Kanika Dhanam, the boy, he does a puja to the son-in-law as a Mahavishnu. Right? You do the Mahavishnu puja only, and then also then that is the only time the person who is doing the dhanam sitting. That's the only time, because it is a Kanika Dhanam. Otherwise, all the time, the person who is doing the dhanam is standing, the person who is receiving is seated. So that kind of that is asamat kram. And adesha kalaya dhanam apatre, and giving it in the wrong places, dhanam. And when that is said, and these are all in these days, you can take it as a bribe. Apatrebhyasa jivate, giving to some rogue rascals. And all those things are to politicians. Everything, those are dhanam. Or okay, I will give you one flight, I will give you one big aircraft, so you will take care of me. All these apatrebhyasa adesha kale dhanam. All those things, that. So that's all the not even dhanam, the tamasam. Now, the last portion of these 5-6 slokas, I will wrap it up. This is what we have to think about. This is okay, because coming back to the initial one, right? Yes, Shastram Vidhi Mutsrujya, we said, meaning to say, however, we try to abide by this ahara, or from the yajna, or in this tapas, or in the dhanam, there will always be a flaw. There is no flawless 100% action in any of them. Then how to make it sattvic? In chapter 18 again, Bhagavan said, Sagajam karma kaunteya sadosham api natyajet sarvarambahi doshena dhumena avrita. Sagajam, in the creation they have created Arjuna, there is a flaw in every karma. Sagajam karma kaunteya sadosham, dosham, with that. Api natyajet, don't leave it. Like Dube and Avriti. So the one good thing to get rid of that is this one great mantra that Bhagavan gives, Om Tat Sat. Like in Ramakrishna Mission, this is very, very reverberating one every time. Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat. So Bhagavan says this Om Tat Sat, that mantra itself, the three words in that makes it so powerful to make it flawless. If any known, unknown flaws has been done either by me or by the environment or by others, or in the occurrence that in the material what I have offered or what I am doing, all will be nullified by making it sattvic by this powerful Om Tat Sat. Because what Bhagavan says, this Om Tatsaditi Nirdeshaha Brahmanas Trivida Smrtaha Brahmanas Tena Vedasta Yajnasta Vihita Pura. Because this is how even during the creation time, the Chaturmukha Brahma, right from that time while doing the creation, he has said this one Om Tatsat Iti Nirdeshaha. That is what he has also stipulated, by which even he has done this creation, so that and Brahmanas, and that's how the Dvija with the Veda, with all of them have come together, even though they may have certain imbibed words that could be missed or something like that. All of them has been done with the creation. So this is a very important mantra which has come from this time of creation. And then he is going into the 3 syllables, how they are most important. So tasmat, yeah, number 24. Tasmat omit yudahritya yagyadana tapakriyaha pravartante vidhanoktaha satatam brahmavadinam. So this Om idi ahritya, that by starting the word Om only, every yagyam or danam or tapaha, everything is started, Arjuna, because the Om Pranava is the one by which everything starts and ends. Because Akarasya Brahma, Ukarasya Vishnu, Makarasya Shivaha. And in that, all the devas and all the aksharas, everything is concluded in that, because that's a pranava itself, which is the Brahman, the sustenance by which everything is also embedded into this. And so that is how it has been stored. So the Om itself is the one that starts everything stuff in the creation. So in this also, Om is the forms of the first syllable in the dosha nivritti mantra. Then तदित्य तत् इति अभिसन्धाय फलं यज्ञतपक्रियाः दानक्रियाश्च विहिताः क्रियन्ते मोक्षकाङ्क्षिभिः. So because we were all the time worried, okay, have I somehow desired for the fruits or something like that? You see, even though it may or may not be, if you want to get rid of it, this word tat has got that power to remove the phalam. That even if you have anything like that, meaning to say that not desiring that one, if at all, that can remove the dosham of that. They can remove the dosham of the phalam. Tat iti phalam anabhisandhaya. Not desiring a bit, vividaha yajnatavakriyaha moksha kangshibihi. For a moksha kangshibihi, for the moksha means one who wants a moksha, kangshibihi, one who are desiring the moksha. This word tat, because that tat is the one that is giving the tattvam for us. So we automatically takes you to that Vedanta tattvam for you in that one particular. So the tat shabdam makes you the tatpadam darshitam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha. So the tatpadam takes that tattvam for us, because we are moksha kangshibihi, it automatically gives you that one. Tat. Then sat bhave sadhu bhave cha sadityetat prayuchate prashaste karmanastata. This sat is the most important thing in this, because the whole thing is what, that is why it's also come satikam, because satikam comes from the word sat, because it is in that, right? So in this om tat sat, that sat word by its own bhava, that's why sat bhave, in that own bhave, sadhu bhave, in that sadhu means it is very good. The goodness comes automatically, even if there is any flaw. So the om is for the pranava, tat is for that we want moksha, we don't want even any purushartha for the moksha, and the sat becomes totally makes it a satvikam. So that saditya pariyujyate prashaste karmanastata satchapta partha uchyate, because it makes any karma as a sat karma, because we are sajjanaha, we want to be a satvika purusha, we want everything satvikam. That sat one word itself makes it a satvik at the end. So it is om tat sat. And then Bhagavan says in the last one, Yajna tapasi dhanecha sitis satiti chochite karma cheva tadartiyam sadityeva abhidiyate. Sat abhidiyate means that is how it is referred to. What Bhagavan says is, Yajna sthiti. Sthiti means even the existential nature of sthiti means existence, right? So even the existence nature of yajna, or in the tapa, or in the dana, or even in the ahara. In all of them, the existence itself is because of sat. And because of that only karma chaiva, that only tad artiyam eva karmam. If that is not there, you cannot do any karma. So the sat is so embedded in all of them as such while doing the action. Prashaste karmana stata. So the karma itself, prashaste means prashastum, means it's very special. It becomes at most mangalakaram. So the mangalakaram in all of them is because of the sat. In that sat shabda. So that is why Bhagavan said the sat is so important that they are already embedded in this. By you invoking Om Tat Sat, it even comes up in its fullest form to make that karma as a mangalakar karma, which makes it for a moksha kangshibihi. So that's what he says, the Shraddha, it becomes automatically a Satvika Shraddha by that one with Om Tat Sat. And the last one is very simple. He says, Ashtadayagudam tattam tavastattam kritam chayat asadi uchyate bhata. And if there is no Shraddha, Ashtadayagudam tattam, everything becomes a asat. Asat means neither it is going to have any waste. It's a waste of time. Waste not only, he says, not only the next Janma, even at this place, it becomes a totally a waste of time. It is only going to take him adogati, only to last one. So that is why Bhagavan says the Shrad Tats itself, it becomes a very, very important one from the whole Om Tat Sat, makes it a flawless. With that, we will finish the 17th chapter. Om Tat Sat, see that Om Tat Sat, iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Sambhade Shraddhatra Vibhaga Yogo Nama Saptadashodhyayah Shri Krishna Arpadamastu. Om Tat Sat. Any doubt, Ji? Any of you? Sorry if I made a bit very fast.
No, it's good.
Okay, Ji.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ji. Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo.
Wow.
Thank you.
Haji, you're saying something, Shashi Bhaiya?
No, I think what you said today about Dhanam was good. I think good reference. You said it when you do not expect anything back
Yeah.
from that, then it is considered Dhanam.